Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back. In this video, we are looking at the Tuesday NBA slate. We have 3 games starting in about 4.5 hours, so let's get into it. As always, I appreciate if you guys hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Yesterday was a good day. We hit on both sides, Draftkings and Fanduel. Got a wild slate today. We got some big news coming out of Brooklyn this morning, so a lot to talk about. Nonetheless, let's get into it. I posted my prize picks on Twitter. You can check that out there. Check out the website if you want to join us. That link is in the description. So the point guard plays today. You have Steph Curry going to break the three-point record tonight. He's going into New York, so it's a great spot to break it in Madison Square Garden in front of the Knicks faithful, and I assume there'll be some Warriors fans out there as well. But as soon as he makes that record, he's gonna have a little bit of a weight lifted off his shoulder. He's been really gunning for that 15, 14, 17, 13, 17 threes. And he's taken a ton of his shots. 95% of his shots have been like threes the last a week and a half, or at least the last couple of games. Just really trying to get that record. I think he's going to get it probably early in the game, hopefully before the first half ends, probably before the first quarter ends. He's a great play today at 11-5. I think Harden is a viable pivot. You're going to want to get to some of these Brooklyn Nets now that they are missing a ton of bodies. And Kevin Durant is questionable. Harden rested last game. Not only are they shorthanded, missing a lot of bodies, but Harden has been playing over 40 minutes in regulation, 41, 39, 42, 40. He gives you triple-double upside on DraftKings. You still lose some points for the turnovers, but it's not as bad as it is on FanDuel. So I'm going to plug in James Harden at 11-2. We have a ton of value in Brooklyn. Damian Lillard, I also want to get to a Stars and Scrubs build. I'll get to him as well, not having CJ McCollum. His first game back from still that occurring abdominal injury. Put up 47, 11 boards, shot the ball poorly, 5 of 17, but played 37 minutes. They don't have McCollum today. Phoenix on a back-to-back. Expect Lillard at home to do what he's done at home, which is be a lot better, shooting 35% compared to 24% from 3 at home, 41% overall, averaging a few more fantasy points. I for sure like Damian Lillard. He's pretty affordable today. Other plays at point guard, I like Van Fleet at 86. Alec Burks looks appealing at 63. The Knicks are dealing with COVID issues as well. There's no RJ Barrett again today. They don't have Grimes, who played 39 minutes last game. Drew the start and was a real good piece in that slate. If you played him on that slate, I think it was a single game, probably a Sunday. But Burks coming back from just became a dad again, or I don't know if it was again, but he became a dad. So $6,300 for Burks. Price tag has gone down a bit, a couple $100. It's a decent spot against Golden State on a back-to-back. He's going to have to play big minutes today. They don't have Barrett. They don't have a couple of other pieces. Let's see. They don't have Barrett. They also don't have Obi Toppin, who was playing decent minutes off the bench. And they're not going to have Grimes. So a couple of pieces, at least Barrett and Toppin were key pieces of the rotation. So I like getting to Burks at 63. Some fades would be like Dennis Smith at 61 is a fade. Kemba, I still don't think he's going to get into the mix. He's 47. That would be a fade. Chris Paul is fine, but I kind of like Van Fleet more than Chris Paul. Scotty Barnes, I wouldn't play him at point guard. I'd play him at small forward. But he's definitely behind the other guys I mentioned. And then Cam Thomas looks decent as a $4,000 play. Just going to have to play good minutes today. I wouldn't be surprised if he cracks 30. At shooting guard, you have Devin Booker, questionable. We'll see him. He's questionable as well as Ayton. That's the last game of the night. So, but you might not know that status before lock. You might want to make some changes late. Or you can just kind of ride with assuming that Booker is going to miss again today. Van Fleet looks appealing at 86. Wiggins, decent, but I kind of like Gary Trent at 59. He gets you defensive stats, steals, 3 steals. He's always known to be a good defender. He gets a ton of shots off. Shoots the ball really well from distance. It's a good spot against Brooklyn. Should be a high-scoring game. So Trent is a very good mid-range play. Jordan Poole is in play as well at 58. Simons, without McCollum, is still in play at 56, but he shot the ball really well last game, 6 of 12 from distance. He's been shooting the ball well this entire year. But if you want a value pick, you can maybe look to Bruce Brown at 43. Just believe they're going to have to play him a lot of minutes today. He should probably start, I'd say, whether that be at the 2 or the 3. He can play multiple positions. I wouldn't be shocked if he doesn't play over 30 minutes today, possibly playing like 33, 35 minutes. And when he's given minutes, he can be somewhat productive. The problem with him has been like some games they just don't play him a lot of minutes, but not having like 5 bench pieces, I expect Bruce Brown to be a big part today. Small forward, Durant, if he plays, looks good at 11-6, but slightly prefer James Harden on DraftKings. At least you get that triple-double upside. Andrew Wiggins, 62, okay play, but I like Trent the best. Then would probably be Wiggins at 62. The 4K range, you have nothing that looks that appealing. I guess Little would be somewhat appealing. Kevin Knox looks good at 36 as a value pick. I don't know who they'll probably start like, they could start Derrick Rose with Burks, or if they want to have a point guard off the bench, they could start like quickly, or they maybe want to start Knox after his decent game. But he's a guy that's going to live and die by shooting the ball. 6 of 15 last game, 5 of 12 from distance. You're going to need him to shoot the ball well. He chipped in some peripherals, but he's not really going to do that too often. But he's still a very good value pick, just with them being shorthanded. But I'd say that small forward, probably go down to like or go down to Kevin Knox. And then you'd maybe want to go in the mid-range for like a Gary Trent, and then you can pay up for Durant if he plays. At power forward, I like Randall. I like Siakam. Boucher is 48. He's fine. Like, there's a lot more value on the slate now that you don't need to go to Boucher. He's not like the best $4,800 play because you have so many guys that are in the 3K range that look a lot better. Larry Nance starting now at $4,300. He looks good. He was in heavy foul trouble last game. Then you have Covington if you want to take a shot with him at 34. Coming off the bench, maybe that gives him some more usage. And then Blake Griffin is going to have to play some decent minutes at the 4 and the 5 today. They only have him and Claxton as like the true bigs that can play. They still have like Sharp on the bench, but he hasn't really gotten any action this year. So I expect Griffin to probably get like 20, 22 minutes at least today, and $3,400 looks like a pretty good value pick. So I'll plug in Kevin Knox here for now. At center, the must-play today is Nick Claxton. He's $3,100. He's going to start at center. He's going to get heavy minutes today. He's just impossible to fade. Wanted to go to somebody else, go to you can go to Blake Griffin. You can go to Larry Nance. Take a shot on like Bielitsa on a 3-gamer. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. At center, you can pay up for like a Randall or a Siakam. I don't really want to go to, well, we don't know about Ayton status, but I don't really want to pay $73 for Nurkic. $6,900 for Draymond, and $48 for Boucher. There's better plays like McGee. Maybe you have McGee here, and then if McGee happens to be, if Ayton happens to be ruled in, you can upgrade to Larry Nance. If you save $1,000 there, or you keep $1,000 on the table. And then you have Nerlens Noel at 37. He looks good. And one last center. There's so many good center plays today, but Looney is $3,200. He's been productive recently. He had the game winner last night. Don't think if you can depend on this every single game, but at $3,200 on a 3-gamer going up against the Knicks, I expect him to get some ownership at least. But these are the 6 that I feel pretty good about right now. A couple of Knicks, some Brooklyn pieces. Definitely want to target the teams that are shorthanded today. And then you got Damian Lillard as your superstar to pair with James Harden. So that's it for DraftKings. Let's talk about FanDuel. All right, so FanDuel is pretty interesting because you have so many, the pricing is a lot softer. I like Harden still a ton. I like Steph Curry, obviously, at 10-2, but got to go Damian Lillard. He's way too cheap at 87 as my favorite play at point guard. Then, and other guys in the 8K range, my second guy would be Van Fleet, and then it would be Chris Paul as the third option. The 6K range, you have Derrick Rose, Jordan Poole. Rose looks somewhat better today just because they are shorthanded. The 5K range, you can look to Patty Mills, and I'd look to Simons, then quickly. You can pass on Dennis Smith, pass on Payton, or Cameron Payne. Then at the bottom, you just don't need to touch these guys because there's so many better plays right up here. At shooting guard, plug in James Harden at 10-4, especially with all the other guys. Obviously, Kyrie's out. No CJ McCollum, banged up Devin Booker. If he doesn't play, then your second most expensive guy is going to be Jordan Poole. So definitely want to play James Harden at shooting guard instead of point guard, which is loaded with a lot of good plays. I will look to Gary Trent at 61, Derrick Rose as some mid-range plays, Simons. Burks looks great. I'll probably plug him in at small forward. And You have the other Brooklyn guards that are just going to have to play some decent minutes today. Cam Thomas, 42, and Bruce Brown at 41. Small forward, Durant is the best pick. I don't think I'll get to $8,200. Scotty Barnes, I'd rather go to Gary Trent. Maybe go to Wiggins, but Burks is my favorite. He's too cheap at 56 with the injuries or with the COVID issues dealing with. He's going to play at least 35 minutes today, and hopefully he hits his shots. Last game he shot 0 of 7. Hopefully he does a lot better than that today. Covington's a fade at 49. Cam Johnson is definitely a fade at that price. And then at the bottom, you can look to Nasir Little at 43. Kevin Knox looks a lot better on DraftKings, but he's still playable there at 42 or 300, whatever he was. Power forward, have Siakam at 78. That price tag looks very good. He's very affordable. Siakam and Julius Randle are my two favorites. Then I'd probably look to Kevin Durant, but I like Harden and Lillard as my favorite payups, especially with Durant being $700 more on FanDuel and dealing with maybe an ankle injury, if they're not just using that as an excuse to hold him out for rest. Draymond, 66, looks fine. He's priced where he should be. At the bottom, you have Larry Nance, Boucher. They're priced kind of up than they are on DraftKings, so you can look to some other plays. Like Nick Claxton at 44 is just too cheap. You have Kevin Knox at 42, looks good. And then Blake Griffin is 36, so I'll probably go to Blake Griffin, and then at center, you can plug in Claxton, and you have a ton of money left over to pay up for another superstar or pay up for some more role players here. But Claxton and Griffin, I think they should both get heavy minutes today, especially Claxton and Griffin. Even at like 25 minutes, he can still be very productive at 36. They don't have James Johnson, they don't have Paul Millsap, they don't have Aldridge. They're missing all their bigs, so Claxton and Blake Griffin should be, especially Claxton, should be the biggest beneficiary. And even with going Lillard and Harden, you still have almost 7K left. So plenty to work with. That's about it for the video. If we got more news, stay tuned to Twitter for updates. Otherwise, this is probably the core I'm going to be rolling with tonight. Thank you for watching. Best of luck, and I will see you all next time.